Was that your first gig this way?
It was, yeah. I've done it.
She's taken her coat off then. I can't believe she wore a coat in here.
I suddenly realised it's actually
cooking
really
in
hard.
here. And you're lucky tonight, the radiator's packed up.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've done a few gigs back home, kind of near Ulster and Bidford. But nothing in Worcester, so that was the first one in Worcester, and that was a lovely one for a first one in Worcester.
Yeah.
I think I was only going to stick around for an hour or two. I didn't realise it was going on a day, and I think I had to be back in Bristol for something in the evening, and it got to about 5 or 6, and I couldn't leave because everyone was so good. I was like, oh, I need to watch all of this. So that was a nice introduction, and such a lovely group of people as well. Yeah. Such a lovely group of musicians and fans and friends and stuff. So
So you like to do more this way?
Yes, definitely. Need to get my acting gear in the new year. I think it's
Yeah, of course you're at the End Festival, aren't you? And,
yeah.
I actually was at a gig on Friday night, and this woman come up and she said, "My husband's bought that LP off you at the End, and he loves it." To tell you, I don't know her name and I don't know his name, but she did come out of her way to say that. So she was looking forward to listening to the session. And,
that's lovely.
Yeah. So let's go right back to the beginning. The earliest musical memory, Sadie Fleming, what would that be?
Probably trying to learn the piano when I was really young. I seem to remember being quite excited about the piano and the fact that you could press these buttons and a noise came out. So probably that in terms of my own, and then in terms of kind of just listening to music and stuff. I remember listening to Eric Clapton Unplugged on repeat on every car journey that we went on, and that was a kind of nice introduction to. That's the first kind of music I remember listening to. I think. So.
Your family a musical family?
Not really. My grandma used to play piano, and she used to be amazing. My mum can play the recorder, and my dad can play a bit of guitar, but they were never particularly musical. It wasn't particularly musical in my house, but I think they were quite keen to just say, right, well, if you want to learn this, that would be nice, but if you don't worry about it. They're very supportive.
Cool. Do you remember your first gig?
Oh yeah.
Why did you say it like that?
I made a man cry.
You made a man cry?
I hope in a good way.
Yeah.
It was at a place called the Pilgrim in Bristol. And I'd done a few open mics beforehand, but that was my first proper gig, and it was like a half an hour set, and I was petrified before I started, and then I was just playing away, and I got really into it, because I hadn't played that long in front of people before, and I was really into it, and then I got to the end, and he was quite drunk, to be fair, but he was just...
Do you know why you cried?
He was just like, that was so beautiful. I was like, thank you, I'll do that again. It doesn't happen so often again.
No, okay, I'll try not to cry tonight. Well, what's the best gig? I think you just touched on it, haven't we?
Yeah, probably the Colston Hall one, I think.
Yeah.
Just because it was a proper gig that people paid money to come and see, and it was kind of lots of people sat down, and there was a proper stage, and the sound was really, really nice in there.
I've not been in there, but I've heard like.
It's like it was Hall 2, so it's like the smaller hall, but still really, really nice one to play. But I've done tons and tons of really nice ones. Yeah.
Any strange and weird ones?
Not particularly, actually. I think I've played it quite safe.
So far.
Yeah.
So, what about the worst gig you've done?
Worst gig? I remember the first worst gig.
Yeah.
The
first worst gig. How many have we got?
Oh, there's always a few. I think the worst ones are always the ones that are paid, for some reason. The ones that are paid relatively well seem to be when no one really cares and it's more background music. And I don't mind doing that, but you've got to earn a living, haven't you? I remember the first one like that I did, and I was heartbroken. I couldn't stop crying. I finished the gig and I just cried my eyes out. I was like, no one cares. But actually, I think you get over that after. Like, it's fine.
Would you like to do it full time? Yeah.
That's the aim eventually.
Yeah, you get signed.
I'm not sure about being signed.
No, because then you lose your freedom.
Well, I think I don't know. I think a lot of people do, and I think you lose control over what you're doing. Then you're kind of turned into something that you don't particularly want to be. Obviously, there's benefits in terms of you get paid to do it and stuff. But I think there's definitely more and more, especially with the internet and stuff, there's more ways of doing it yourself and not needing a record company and that kind of thing involved, I think. So that would be the idea.
Right.
Do it myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every time he points that at me, I forget what I'm going to say. What was I going to say to you? Gigs this way. Any coming up next year or anything?
I've only really started booking for January so far, and they're all Bristol way at the moment.
Right.
But I am going to take on your recommendations, so I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, good. And if people want to check your music out, where do they go to?
Well, I'm just building a new website at the moment, but there is a sadiefleming.co.uk, which goes straight to my music, which is where my album is on the internet, and then just Facebook, MySpace, Bieber page, and usual.
So how is the album selling?
Well,
Yeah.
I've still got quite a few copies left.
Yeah.
But definitely sold more than I expected to. So this is good. I've got rid of most of it.
Because I was listening to it being played on an Australian radio
yes,
station.
I know, how exciting.
Yeah. And she seemed to love it.
That's definitely the furthest afield I think it's been played. So yeah, that's really exciting.
So when you go out in New Zealand, you might Sadie.
You never know.
Are you going to be playing any gigs at New Zealand? Or?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah.
I know a couple of musicians who are over there at the moment who are travelling around doing music. And I guess I'll probably go busking and just kind of see what happens. I like the idea of just kind of turning up and trying somewhere new for a bit and seeing what's out there, really.
Yeah. Have you done any busking?
Yeah, once.
Yeah. Once.
When we first moved to Bristol, me and my housemate went, because we didn't have jobs or anything, we just moved to Bristol, hopeful. And we went busking by the harbour side. But we'd never been busking before, and I think this was again before I'd done a gig anyway. And so we stood as far away from the crowds as possible. We stood like next to some fountain, kind of hiding behind the fountain, played for a bit, and then sort of slowly built up courage. We ended up playing on the bridge, I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I know the bridge.
Yeah, we ended up playing on there.
I'm amazed you didn't get thrown off by the lady who sells the flapjacks there. Every time I go there, there's a little old lady on a bicycle selling flapjacks.
No, we didn't get thrown off.
No.
But I think we made about £5, so we both went and bought half a pint. And that was that. But no, I'd definitely be up for it. I feel much more comfortable with doing things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely be up for it again. Yeah.
Cool. Right, ready for another one?
Yeah. I think I'm going to do a cover of a song by The Lonely Tourist, who you saw in Bristol last week, who is awesome. One of my favourite local artists. So. This is called Watch for the Sharks.